we have Trump kind of rolling out some warships, and my initial reaction was one of trepidation. Is that maybe the right word? And I got kind of piled on by MAGA because they're like, dude, this is what this is what you voted for. This is good. This is good. F around and find out. And while I agree that protecting the cargo ships and maybe a possible show of force is something good, what I'm worried about is starting a war with Iran, because Trump had used some pretty strong language. My feelings are mixed, saying that he's going to hold Tehran responsible for Houthi attacks. And the Houthis are, made famous by Hassan Piker, leftist, bringing one of the pirates who, kidnapped and murdered people that work on these ships onto his live stream to say, look how handsome he is, things like that. And the Houthis keep, trying to pirate ships and blow up ships that are going through that pass. So it makes sense that we would have some show of force that say, yo, you can't have, you can't be doing this nonsense. But I'm also worried that there have been the war drums of Iran have been going since the 90s or maybe even before.
Right.
What's your reaction? I'll go to Hannah Claire and then Melonie Mac. Do you think this is just a show of force, or is this Trump? Are we dangerously close here now to actually, another war here?
I don't feel like we're dangerously close to a war. I'll admit that this isn't my area of expertise, but generally I think Trump's strategy is to present a really strong front to a lot of regions of the world. I mean, especially under Joe Biden, there was just a general agreement that America was a weak country and could be easily sort of pushed around. And I think Trump has to kind of go bold on all fronts where there's tension right now to sort of counteract that. And generally, I think a lot of the countries where we're seeing tensions play out will kind of subside if they feel as though they're going to lose effectively American money in some way.
Yeah, I mean, Melonie, are you worried about this at all? I mean, Israel and Palestine, formally ended the ceasefire yesterday, which
right. But we all knew that was going to happen, right?
It never was real anyway. It was never real anyway.
Well,
so I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm a fan of Donald Trump being bold, and like Hannah Claire was just saying, because with Biden, America just seems so weak. America just seems so queer and weak under Biden, with all of this queer front-facing crap and all of this kind of stuff. So it's like Donald Trump is a man, and he is going to act like a man, and he does this with all of the whole tariff stuff too, the negotiations. He has been bold, and he's like, hey, he's setting a standard that don't mess with America, because we're not here to play around. Okay, all of this queer stuff is done now. I'm here, daddy's home, and I mean serious business. So I mean, that's kind of, I'm not really worried right now, because it just is a lot of bold talk. I think this is a FAFO situation for Iran right now, and we'll see how they handle it.
Yeah, I think
because Trump is the one who advocates for ending most conflicts, right? And so you get these reports about, President Donald Trump is always about to blow things up, or he's unpredictable, or he's a hothead. But for the most part, more conflicts started under Joe Biden than under Trump. And for the most part, he's always continued to say, my priority is to stop people from dying, to end conflicts.
Right.
Not everyone's always going to love the reality of how we get there or what the agreement is in the end, but the conflict needs to end. And so in that way, I actually trust these types of maneuvers more from him than, an unpredictable Biden administration where it's not really clear who's making the decisions, because Lloyd Austin is having secret surgeries and Joe Biden doesn't seem all together.
Yeah. I also think that right now I'm 100% fine, having a show of force. And I'm even fine with some very strategic removals of these people. One thing I'm nervous about, call me irrational, but when we put these ships over there, I'm reminded of the USS Liberty. And if
You're
if
just
you're
trying to be
with,
spicy.
I just saying, the USS Liberty was struck by America's greatest ally, allegedly, and we know that
Well,
Israel
that was-
wants war with Iran, and I'm afraid of a false flag. That's what I'm
Yeah.
afraid of. When our ships are there, now granted, our ships are almost always there. So I guess maybe it's much ado about nothing. Maybe it's just like, yeah, whatever, like it is. I had a lot of soldiers email me and be like, yo, you don't even know, man. We've been, not only are we there, but we've been actively, carrying out operations in Iran like for the last 20 years. So a lot of that is probably probably me just being naive. But I don't want to get fooled into a war on behalf of America's greatest ally. I don't want to get, have one of these Houthis get like a lucky. Basically, the Houthis were firing missiles at our ships and running this propaganda that they blew up our ships, but they never did. In fact, their missiles missed by more than 100 miles. So like, am I worried about them? No, but I'm cautious. I guess I don't know. I guess I'm just nervous. Anytime, we have kind of a show of force, there is another side to that show of force that, Iran may say, okay, forget it. We will, we don't care. I think that would be very dumb, but then America would be forced to act. Otherwise, would be called frauds. I don't know.
I find myself more worried about the regions that we're sort of not getting major updates on. And that's a little overly simplistic. I mean, of course, there is tension in the Middle East, and there are a lot of things that you could be concerned about because there's, geopolitical and financial motivations to have dominance in that region. But, what's going on with Taiwan? What's going on with China? Like, there's so many
were
people
some,
who are like subtly
Ooh.
sending ships and stuff where I just want to be like, we don't even talk about it, and that almost feels worse.
Oh, for sure. That's a lot more intimidating than Iran for me.
Well, last night, Taiwan reported that there were like 61 Chinese military planes in their airspace or something like that. Now would be the time, if you're China, to F around, so to speak. I'm somewhat calmed by the fact that China respects Trump. I'm not saying that they won't do what they want to do, but I'm saying they pretty much respect Trump, and I don't think that they would do something like this, but I don't know. Like, I can't say that for an absolute fact, but it is, you're right. And, by the way, what's going on in Ukraine? Like, I thought we were like,
yeah,
going to have a ceasefire, and Trump talked to Putin today. They haven't announced anything.
The last headline I saw from that was Putin saying that he didn't just want a temporary ceasefire, he wanted a permanent one, which seems like it's positive, although I guess I'm sure that would be harder to negotiate. I was going to ask you if you felt like world leaders, Putin, but also leaders from China, leaders from Iran, leaders from Israel, look at what happened in the White House between Zelensky, Trump, and Vice President J.D. Vance and are rethinking how they're going to approach the Trump White House. Because it really was sort of this humiliation heard around the world.
Yeah, Zelensky was never the same again after that. And I do think that ultimately, it may. I don't have a problem with Trump having a show of force. I don't have a problem with droning some Terrys, but as long as that's as far as it goes. It's not like Iran's going to declare war on the United States if we clear out these Houthis. Like, that's just not happening. I don't want to get involved in Israel's war. Israel, at this point, in my opinion, can just glass Gaza. I don't care. Like, whatever they got to do.
Israel needs to do what they want to do. That's always been my stance. It's like they just do what they need to do, and I don't want America over there. But it's just like in this situation,
Just
they've
get it
got their
done, right?
hostages taken. Do
Yeah.
what you need to do. Do what you
Yeah.
need to do, man. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want there's a lot of the pressure's turned up really hot right now, but I think it'll turn down really quick. I don't think Iran's starting a war with America. I don't think that America's going to get involved in what's going on in Israel any more than we do. And I don't think that these Houthis are going to be a problem for very long. Either that or get it over with. You know, that's no more war, but if you're going to do it, just get it over with already, please. Like, I don't want
I think they should have from the get-go. I think that they were acting in a lot of hesitation because they were scared of what, globally, how they would be received. But it's like people have already been hating on them anyway. So just do what they would have just initially, right then at the jump. Okay, you took our hostages, take action right away. And this would have been over a long time ago.
I just think there's going to be no winners in that conflict, right? No. Like, each side has reasons that they seem sympathetic to some people, and each side has reasons that they seem like the more aggressive person, because the conflict has gone on for, I mean, actually hundreds of years. But you know, like if you look back, there are tons of reports of different, attacks along the border and things like that. And so, like, I think it's almost one of these things where it's impossible to say that anyone is going to walk out being totally the victor and one person is going to seem like the loser, because even if Israel just demolished Gaza, then there would be people who'd be like, see how aggressive Israel is. And if Gaza continues to do whatever it's doing, there are going to be people who are like, look, see, they're attacking all of these people. To me, I have always felt like I don't understand why America has to be so involved in it. And that was one of the appeals of Donald Trump's campaign. His general thing is like, I want to focus on America, and also I want the conflicts to stop. He is actually fairly supportive of Israel, but in a way that I think appeals to people who are like, please stop getting us entangled in everything and on foreign conflicts.